How you doing, Hans?
Tired today.
Yeah, long day at work.
Yeah, this whole week has been kind of draggy.
Mm,
I don't feel rested.
gotcha. Going to bed late too and stuff like that, or
Uh no, last 2 days I went to bed pretty good, but it's still I like need more rest. I don't know.
mm,
It's weird.
gotcha. You do have a lot going on, so makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, Nate's here too.
Yeah, I'm here.
I was like, who's that other voice?
Who's
I gotta fix this because I'm hearing this happen again. I'm he- I'm he- I'm hearing things twice.
Hmm.
Ah,
Are you
Hey,
watching
you
the
got
YouTube video while you're?
yeah, I always do that, dude.
Yeah, I'm watching it too, but I always just mute it.
Yeah, now I was actually doing some work, so I was like not paying attention
Yeah.
until now, really. Oh, hold on, I could pop out this other thing.
Oh, there's people here.
It's a cup.
We already have people.
we got four, yeah.
Andrew,
Nice.
he's a follower. Da 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 da. Pop out. And take that out. I should have this like set by now, but I don't. There we go. Get rid of this chat. So what's going on, guys? How is everybody doing?
Doing great, doing great, man. How's life?
Life is good. I caught a cold, so like I'm not allowed to go near the office for like a month now because it could be that other thing that everybody's like very worried about.
Yeah.
Human malware.
Yeah,
Nice.
which works for me. I actually wanted to go back to the office. To be completely honest, working from home with like 3 kids and a wife, it's no kind of life, man. I mean, I get a lot of stuff done. I get to work in the car every now and then, but
Yeah.
Fuck.
yeah, yeah, right.
We just got banned. We just got banned, bro.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I got banned from YouTube for using the F word.
Nice.
See me and Nate rocking the proper backgrounds here.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm drinking water, dude. I'll be okay, Andrew.
Sure, that's water.
The whole glass of vodka. I gotta hold it for the right place.
Sweet.
I almost kind of like wanted to postpone this because I was like not feeling well this morning. But thankfully, like I don't know, that stuff went away. I started eating like some protein. I had some of that honey I told you about.
Nice.
I think it's like I don't know, it's like magic honey. And you get it from like someone's backyard.
Mm-hmm. Now, you sound you look good, man. Other than sounding a little down, voice wise,
Yeah.
you sound good, man. You look good, man.
Oh,
Look like you just came out of the shower or something. You're like ready to go.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, so Hans been racing a little bit, man. I saw some of your videos lately. What's going on with you, man?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's been fun. I met a couple other people at the meet the other week. Actually, it's a week ago today. We went racing. So met a couple people with some interesting cars. Saw a Hellcat lose to a GTI. Saw the So I didn't post one race because it wasn't a race. It wasn't even close. So that GTI that beat the Hellcat raced a 700 wheel horsepower M5. So I was right behind them, and they went, and I went, and dude wasn't even close. They start just pulling away, and I was like, damn, must be nice.
The
nice.
M5.
Yeah, the M5, dude. He was a cool guy. He actually works at the Pentagon. So we're just talking about work stuff. And then he was just like, he just bought the M5, brand new M5, new tags. He already put money into it, 700 wheel horsepower.
Dude, that's the way to go, man. It's
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
probably knew, like, yeah, this thing's not quick enough. Let's make it quicker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Car was fast. He raced a Mustang, the newer Mustang, the Coyote motor. He raced one
Nice.
of those with a big ass blower. I mean, that blower is like
I'll be back, guys.
this
Keep
big.
going.
So it was an
You happen-
interesting night.
How big is the blow? 1.9 liter, 2.3, or?
It was a centrifugal, so it was the turbo looking one.
Oh, okay. Like
One of those.
hmm
I didn't get too much detail because they were kind of like on the other end of the parking lot. But
Yeah.
when they said, yeah, that they just raced, and I looked at the blower, I was like, holy crap, that thing was like this big. But yeah, like all these meets that I go to, there's some crazy builds, man. There's like a lot of GTRs out there with 12, 13, 1400 horsepower to the wheels. That BRZ, even so, you know how people are street racing. They don't want to tell any secrets. They're like, hey, what do you got done? Oh, nothing. Or, oh, no, it's just stock or just bolt on. Everyone
Uh-huh.
knows, so, but that BRZ, I remember before I raced it, you could see he had a huge ass intercooler. He had a freaking another cooler for oil. I don't know if it was transmission or engine oil. You could hear his straight cut gears, and he was just trying to be like all hush hush with it. Oh no, it's just turbo, man. So
Just stock.
no, some people say that it's like, oh, I'm just stock, man, just stock.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, but it was pretty cool, man. So when I did, so I didn't post 2 races. The first race with the BRZ, he beat me by a lot because I misshifted and then it was an unexpected turn. So it wasn't a real fair race, but most people saw that race. Not that many people saw the second race. So I remember when I came back, they're like, dude, what happened? Because everyone hyped up my car. Everybody. The Hellcat thought he was going to lose to me. He was like, you're the dude with that supercharged SI. I was like, yeah. He's like, no, I can't race you, man. You probably beat me. I was like, nah, man. I'm not that fast. I'm just quick. But so many people hyped up my car. Like there were people coming up to me, and I haven't seen them in months since my last street race. And they were just like, hey man, where you been? You need to get your car out, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, yo, watch out for the Civic. It just got hyped up. And then when they saw me lose that BRZ like that, everyone was like, dude, what happened? Like, what happened? I was just like, misshifted, blah, blah. And I told them the second race happened. Then they watched it on my GoPro. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's fun. It's fun, but
Nice.
it's scary too because that Evo race, that cop came out of nowhere. And
Mhm.
I'm surprised he didn't even pull me over. He went right by me and cut in front of me and pulled over the Evo guy. But he didn't get no ticket.
Wow.
Zero
How,
ticket.
how did he get away
So-
with it?
Yeah.
So we go racing in Maryland. And I think that's why everyone goes to Maryland because the cops seem to be real more laxed. I don't know why. Some other kid got pulled over. Middle race.
Maryland, is that like a area in Mexico, kind of like it's
Yeah, it's
a
Maryland,
suburb
Mexico.
of like
Yeah.
Mexico City, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's just different. It's different out there. So
Yeah. Nah, dude, like I don't know. I don't have the balls to do that anymore. Maybe I'm too old. That's why
I hear you say that, Barry, but I'm here thinking in my head thinking once I get my car running, I want to go meet with Hans and be a little creative.
dude, there's a
Yeah.
lot of Audis out here. A lot of Audis that run. Like they have Audi RS4s or whatever, all these
Yeah.
fast Audis and a lot of German cars. I'm telling you, a lot of fast GTIs. I didn't know they could hook up these GTIs to make them go really fast, but they just do. The new GTIs are
Especially-
quick, man.
Yeah, they're insane.
Especially
Yes.
those Golf R's. The people are already
Yeah.
doing 10s and 9s and those things with
Yep.
basically just bolt-on turbos and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's real crazy. It caught me
Mhm.
off guard. Yeah.
The all-wheel drive too, I think. Yeah.
All-wheel drive in the DSG, it makes a
Mhm.
huge difference.
Quick.
Yeah. So other than that, it's been going pretty good. I like it. meet the best part is meeting new people. You meet a ton of people, and everyone has the same liking, and most of the people are real cool. So
Nice.
That's good, dude. That's kind of like the same with like, you know, a lot of the autocross events and stuff like that. Um, like the event I went to with the SCDA, man, like Nathan was there, and it's like, you know, yeah, it's a little bit different because everybody's like wearing masks and keeping distance, but you could tell people still want to socialize and want to talk.
yeah,
Hmm.
Like there was one guy who came up to me. He had like a Mercedes AMG 45, that little hatchback SUV or whatever, 5 door, no, hatchback, like whatever. Um,
It was
four
like a
door.
hatchback. Convert it into SUV for American market.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah, like they should have just done the sedan. Um, um, but yeah, the dude was really cool. He would always come around and like ask like, hey, how are you doing? I told him it was my first time at Lime Rock. And he's like, oh, you'll be fine. We ended up being in the same group, so like, you know, I think by the end of that, he had done the track a lot more than I did. But by the end of the day, he was like, yeah, dude, you were like really getting the hang of it, and I could tell. I was like, all right, you know, I've done time attack events where like you're allowed to just flat out pass people, but this event was like you have to let people by. So like they could be faster than you, and like you could get in trouble for passing somebody if they don't give you like the go ahead to pass by. It's called a point by. So I think for my last run, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to get myself into like clear traffic, and it was all about okay, the warm up lap. I'm just gonna let people just like take off, and it worked out. I ended up catching them every now and then, so I would
Hmm.
just cool down. You know, honestly, Jose, the brakes, freaking amazing, dude. Like I was
Yeah.
complaining a lot about this Willwood kit because like how expensive and like how cumbersome it is to put it on, but you know, after the new pads bedded in, the track pads bedded in, I had no issues. I feel like I could have gone like 12, 15 laps without cooling.
Wow.
Without cooling. I don't have brake
That's
cooling.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
It's like, wow, it's amazing. Either that or I wasn't driving them hard enough.
No, no, that's what happens when you add more mass to the brakes, and you happen to have a good setup that just match the car really well. So
Yeah.
like you said, once you spend that money, it hurts in the beginning, but once you feel it and the benefits of it, it's well worth it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess he left.
yeah, it was
Uh,
definitely
Wife went on a walk. I'm on kids. I gotta text her to let her know if kids are waking up.
uh,
It's funny.
yeah.
definitely
Hans,
during our
Hans,
oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, definitely during our first session there, when we were at the track, we were running into heat issues with the brakes, which was actually very surprising to me initially because you would have thought that we wouldn't really have any issues, especially with it only being 6 or 7 laps at the time, and it was literally just sort of like first laps, feeling out the track, being a little too aggressive on the brakes. Um, the usual. We were braking early and trail braking through the corners and stuff still. And then once we sort of figured that out with the during the next laps, he saw plenty of differences as far as like how the heat and the brakes were lasting, and we weren't having any issues with brake fade after that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I would say, like, I don't know, well worth the money and even some of the frustration with Willwood because they really don't have much support. But, um, they don't have to. They're one of the best brake companies out there. Just like you here's our product. You figure it out. If you can't figure it out, maybe this is not for you. But Jose,
Yeah.
you run into some of that stuff with some customers. I can't figure out basic stuff,
Hmm.
right?
Like what?
I don't know. You've told me like some people tell like I can't figure out how to install the tensioner, for example.
Oh, okay, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, so I forgot. What do you mean? Well, yeah, no, did you whole issue with the installation? But in your case, I think I understand what Wildwood was trying to do. They don't give you everything because people do custom things to their cars. So I guess they're letting you decide what you want to put in with this kit.
Yeah.
But you were not aware of what parts were needed, and I'm guilty of that sometimes too. I don't, not guilty, but it just is hard to say. Okay, yeah, this tensioner is going to fit this many custom setups because you never. Every people always come up with something new. Oh,
Yeah.
guess what? I just put the tensioner in a Lotus Elise. Oh, I put it on an Aerial Atom. Or I put it on my EG Hatch, or I put it on my custom go kart. It's like
Yeah.
you never know what it's going to go into or what belt size. So people have to be technical and figure it out sometimes. So that's what happens when you go after market, right? They give you the tools, and you have to figure it out in the best way that works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my biggest gripe is not sending the brake line.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is like, okay, I can go to the hardware store and pick this up. I can go to the hardware store and pick that up. But yeah, the brake line was kind of just annoying. But it's in all reality, like now that looking back at it now, like there was another guy who had a 8th gen. He had a like a Jackson Racing kit at the track. I parked right next to him. They're actually really nice guys. Like, I forgot the little cube for the rear brake pads. I mean, the rear brake caliper, how you press them in and turn them. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, dude, just try to do it with some pliers." So I did it with the pliers. Oops, I lost. What the deuce? There we go. So I did it with the pliers, and it worked. I was like, "Oh shit, thanks, dude. Nice tip."
Mm-hmm.
But they only lasted about one session, and they had to go home for some reason.
Mm.
And they were looking at the brakes. The brakes were really hot. And he had a pretty good brake kit. It was a 2-piece rotor. But for some reason, they packed it up and went home, which kind of sucked. Like I kind of wanted to see those guys do a little bit, better and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was definitely sort of interesting their setup that they had because it seemed to be pretty basic, but as far as their braking went, they even had like water jets that would squirt on the back of the rotors and stuff while they were
Yeah, I
running.
thought that
And
was
yeah, it
almost.
was really interesting because like you would think that the rapid heating and cooling or the I guess the shock that you would have with water, you'd end up having issues with like cracking or anything like that. But it seems like it was working out pretty well for them. I don't know what exactly sent them home that day, but
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm sure they'll be back. I'll probably run into them again. They seem like cool people.
yeah.
They saw the tensioner, the Merc Racing tensioner on my car, and they're like, "Oh, he's got a good tensioner." And I'm like, "I got more than just a good tensioner in here, motherfucker." Like this is kind of a beast. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny. They were running, a pretty custom setup, like with ethanol and stuff. And I wanted to do that. I think originally when I first got this supercharger kit, but I don't want to mess with that kind of stuff anymore. The mixing water, the ethanol, additions. I would do
Mm-hmm.
E85 if I had E85, but out of all of us here, the lucky one is Hans.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
lucky. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere there, dude.
It is. It's everywhere.
Nice. We used to have a gas station right next to our house that carried it all the time, and I felt so lucky for the shortest time. And Tony, he's on the chat with us. He will come home and he'll fill up here before leaving, and then suddenly, nope, it's not an option anymore. So we're hoping it's temporary for the summer or something, but we'd love
Yeah.
to get back on the E.
Yeah, I might write a letter to a senator or something like, "Hey, man, we gotta get this stuff in here, corn fuel."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so much cheaper, man. Like I think when I came down to Jose's last time, the cheapest was $1.60 something a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Gas prices overall went up in my area, so right now ease back up to $2 a gallon, but premium is $3 up here.
Mm.
So it's like it's a dollar more. It's usually a dollar more, and if you calculate the fuel economy, so on E I don't get great fuel economy anymore. I get like from 15 to 20. So I averaged around like 17, 18. And then on 93, I was averaging like maybe 26 or something like that. But if you calculate it, it's actually the amount of money you pay less and with filling up more and then paying it versus 93 to get better gas mileage, it's the same.
Yeah.
So running E is just so much better because you could up the boost and run cooler and everything like that. So I love it. I love E. I'll never switch back ever.
Hmm.
So if I ever move, I'm gonna have to check to see if that area has E.
Yeah, I move up to
Qualification.
Connecticut. I think there's like a big thing, like they just don't want it up here. I guess because the winters are so cold up here, it's hard to deal with the fluctuation.
Yeah,
and the
because they
quality of
change
fuel.
blends. Even here where I'm at, they change blends. Even in PA, Derek was telling me during the winter, they switched to a lower grade E, like E50, E53, and then the summertime they'll up it up. But if you go like Florida or somewhere hotter all year, they usually tend to stay at E85, E80.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
Gotta buy a condo in Florida. But yeah.
So Barry, should we play a video of your race to see it live and kind of talk about it? I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
So,
Oh, Tony said they're building one now. Open this month.
yeah.
E Station, yeah. That's nice. Yeah, because Sheets around my area has it. Sheets and Royal Farms.
Nice.
And Mobile and Shell. Yeah, but Sheets mostly.
Yeah.
Ours was a BP, I think, that used
BP.
to have it. It was nice because back when I had my my RSX, I used to just run out there every time on the way to school or something. But I had to drive almost an hour every day, and it really just started eating into the wallet at a certain point.
Yeah.
Because it's just this 30% more fuel, is rule of thumb at least, but it's the horsepower potential for E85 versus trying to go meth, and then the lack of headache with having the mixed meth, worry about sprayers, jets, tanks leaking,
Yeah.
relays staying on and leaning out your car or over-richening it. It's definitely, I would recommend somebody go E before they even go nitrous or ethanol or anything like that. It's definitely a very convenient way to make more power without having to go and spend race gas or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how this looks over here.
It does not look horrible, at least on mine.
This thing on.
I hope the sound's coming through for the viewers on YouTube. Let's see.
It looks all right. We're sort of pushed up in the corner, but
yeah,
that's
fine.
Tony made a good point. He says flex fuel stations are not the same as E85 stations, which is true. What I have is flex fuel, so that's why we have so many different grades. There are dedicated like E85 stations, but everything up here is all flex fuel. They just guarantee between E52 to E83 up here.
Got it. So you
So you have
definitely
no
need that.
idea.
So you have no
ethanol
idea.
sensor.
So you need a sensor. You need a flex fuel kit. Yeah.
All right. So I was keeping an eye on all these supercharger.
If you want, you could make the video small. Just play it. It's a small, like half the size of that. So it doesn't have to redraw so many frames.
There we go. See, it's not skipping so much on my side.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But yeah. So, dude, the Honda hack thing that I did a video on a little while ago, that came in really handy because I was keeping track of everything. So you see here, like I'm just really slowly getting to know the track, and I mean I already know it between Forza and all the first two sessions, but I know I need some space between me and the guys in front of me. This right here, the hill, it's ridiculous.
I kept hearing it bounce, and then you let off the gas, and you actually are wheel hopping on that.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of throttle you need there. It's not too much, it's not too little. But But that last corner, I didn't have the balls to like really come out of there hot.
I could see why. Yeah.
I
Because then it kind of goes a bit of camber too, right? Like it's
it's
sort
off
of
camber. It's a big drop. The braking zone is tough. So here people are like,
actually,
oh,
yeah. I was watching you here, and I was like, you know what? It almost looked to me like you were being still too careful. Like you could have kind of just almost cruised it on the throttle. But again, I wasn't there to drive it, so it just looked like that on the video. Like you could almost just tap the gas and just stay on the throttle and just kind of get through it. Um, but it almost felt like just watching the video that you were kind of still being careful. And I see you going on the steering wheel sometimes a little jerky on it,
Dude,
but it looked flat.
did the
Go
video
ahead.
freeze?
I think it
the
did.
video
Yeah.
froze.
Okay. Thought it was just me.
Yeah, the qualities are. I'm gonna disconnect. I'm like connected to a bunch of stuff. I
That's
should know
fine.
better.
But that
Yeah,
track is definitely one of those tracks that look very easy to drive and are probably easy to be comfortable with on your first couple of laps. But it's definitely one of those ones where it's technical enough that you'd have to really either have your lap time in or have your skills refined for that track. Where
Yeah.
it's definitely an hours over, car capability type of deal.
It looked very technical.
Yeah,
Did you need seats or no? Do you
You
think
know-
you would have done better with seats?
I would have done absolutely better with seats. Here's the dumb part. The first 2 sessions, I left my seat in like street driving position, right?
Mm,
And then this session, I'm like, oh, dude, I keep forgetting to fix my seat. Because like you're thinking about so many things like, do I have this going? Do I have that going? Are my nerves in check? But yeah, finally, I put the seat like upright and I had a lot more control of the car and a lot more feel. So like a bucket seat alone would have just given me a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know where the tires would let go. I had a lot of grip. Uh-oh.
yeah, I didn't hear a lot of squealing either at all.
Yeah. The scary part was braking. So here I was coasted. You're supposed to brake between like 3 and 2, supposedly. But again, like it takes a lot of confidence, which I didn't have, starting up again.
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Hey, when you brake, I was asking about the braking.
Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering, like when he brakes, does the car stay firm and planted, or does it wobble a little bit?
I had a little, like the car wanted to pull to the left a little bit. I don't know if you noticed it on one occasion.
Okay.
But it was manageable. I think it has to do with me trying to set up my dampeners right. That's another thing. I didn't adjust dampening when I got there.
Yeah.
Well, this and I let go. My hands were sweating. I was like, I can't take this anymore. My hands are sweating. I should have bought the gloves.
Yeah. Yeah, I notice when I drive fast and I'm not say panic stop or panic brake, but brake pretty hard going at faster speed. I notice my car like loses stability a little bit. So
We have a lot of front bias on these cars, and
yeah.
it's hard to manage
Yeah.
without a proper system.
Because one guy, or actually a couple of people told me that when you go to a track, you just want to have stronger front brakes and leave the rear brakes really weak for some reason. But when I'm braking, it feels like my rears need to be a little bit stronger to like keep it like stable. Because it feels like my rear is not like it does this. And I just feel like it's not safe. I don't know.
I mean, better rear brakes will help with that, but by the time they catch up, your front brakes already have a lot of bite on them, especially with the Willwood kit like you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean a lot of the track people who set their brakes up like that, they're driving them like you drive, autocross stuff where you need the rear to just rotate all the time,
Yeah.
on
Okay.
low speed stuff. But I mean, a lot of that could be left into alignment as well, like having
Yeah.
some more. I mean, I'm no expert, but having a little bit more toe in the back will have a tendency to sort of want to center the back end.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah. You usually toe out is kind of what you want.
yeah, that'll get you more like agile, especially in turning. But if you're more of like a straight line guy, you just straight up, or
Yeah.
you know,
But
just a touch too. It's not even like a whole degree or anything like that. It's just
Hmm.
here's what I wanted to show you guys. I think this is kind of almost over because I don't have a lot more video left, but this is when I start to get the feeling of like I'm getting some things right. So this is the second to last corner. This corner coming up, the last one, I think I started doing it like somewhere around like 71 miles an hour or 60, like high 60 miles an hour. I think up here I finally like just used a little more speed and the car felt really good. You're gonna hear me like shout like crazy pretty soon.
Hmm.
And here I was braking too much. You see, I kept it like mid 70s, 71. I could have just kept way more speed. I'm like when you started to get that feeling like I have the track down, and I don't, but I'm like a few more days here and I'll be a genius around this place. Just a few more days. And this place is only
Nice.
like an hour away, man. But this Lotus, I was like, I'm catching you, I'm catching you, I'm catching you, I'm catching you. But dude was quick in the corners.
Well, they're super light. Probably 1,000 pounds lighter than you, probably.
yeah, balanced really well.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was one guy that kind of like lost her near there, but
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That looks really
here's
good.
this is
Whee!
dude. If you see this, if you stand near that corner, all the cars like just they look like SUVs when they go above that corner. Like
Yeah,
they
you
just
see
Oh,
the
yeah.
rear just go into full droop.
That's nuts. That's why you want good Aero pushing you down.
You could definitely tell the difference between some of the cars. Where like you were seeing a lot of like factory Porsches, Caymans, and Boxsters, especially, just
Yeah.
using that rear suspension travel.
Nice.
But it's a pretty fun
That's
track.
exactly where my GoPro ran out. No.
yeah,
Yeah, but
Nice.
it's all out. But yeah, I can't wait to go back. I mean, it's not cheap. That's the thing, you know.
That's the one thing I have to say I miss about being in Buffalo, New York, and being so close to Canada. Racing on that track in Toronto Motorsports Park was so damn affordable. Back in the day when me and you went out racing out there, that was what, $100, and there was a full
Yeah.
event: drag
Yeah.
racing, track,
There was
drift,
drifting.
car
Car
show.
show.
Yeah, everything, and you can't find that in the States, unfortunately. But everything is $400-500
Yeah, the
Yeah.
closest thing you have now is grid life, and it's expensive.
still. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I
they're
mean,
fun. They're worth
but
it.
Hans, you got some places that are like $200 around you, right?
Really?
I think Dominion's cheap.
Yeah.
Dominion's down the street from me. It's literally maybe 15, 20 minutes. I haven't been there yet. I think they just opened up. So I have Dominion. That's pretty cheap. I forget how long their road course is, but it was a decent length. And then they have a oval course, a road course, and a drag strip. So they just opened. They're brand new, 2016.
Mhm.
Okay.
They used to be just an 8th mile course and maybe like 30 minutes away from me. And then they
Yeah.
got shut down because people were complaining. It was close to homes, and people would drag race there, on the weekdays and weeknights, whatever.
Yeah.
And people just complained, so they closed it down. Then they moved it.
Dude, what's your
Mm.
zip?
22554.
Within 60 miles. Dominion, right?
Dominion, yeah.
Member driving day. I think I looked this up. Can you guys see this, or do I need to zoom in a little?
Yeah, I
No,
can
we
see
got
it.
Oh yeah.
Continue. I was like, dude, I would totally go to this because it's police center.
Well, Hans, while he looks at that real quick, you were talking about the rear getting loose. I was
Yeah.
getting that on my RSX when I was tracking a lot,
Yeah.
and the what solved it for me was putting a rear wing. Because at 120 miles an hour, you're trying to brake hard.
Mhm.
The car is already light, plus the whole bias thing we were talking about,
Yeah.
and you need a little downforce in the rear too. So that helped a lot. It never happened again after that.
Okay.
So yeah, but that depends on the person, how much track you want to do, and for street, do you really want it? So
Yeah.
Oh, dude, forget it. It's a $1,500 membership per year. So it's a cheap event, but it's like you gotta be a member.
mhm. Yeah, membership was $300 a year, and
No, it's $1,400 a year.
woo, that's okay. No,
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Another member
I don't need to have
day.
that much fun. That's great for people that probably are retired. That's all they do, and they can afford it, I guess. But yeah,
There's drifting.
Yeah, there's a
yeah,
lot of stuff going on around you.
that's how it's Mexico.
Yeah, honestly, like, yeah, true. Free entry.
Yeah.
Until you get that ticket, pay the fees, dude.
Yeah,
They pay the border fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, no. Let's see. So the rear spoiler thing, that's something that I've considered because I'm like, I know that's gonna help a lot with some of the
Mhm.
high speed braking. I just personally don't want to drive around town with a wing. I remember how much attention
Yeah,
we used to get with your car, the
that's the
orange car you
guy.
had. Like we were driving at the speed limit once from Buffalo to Niagara Falls. You were just dropping me off, and the cop
Hmm.
just pulled you over because you had
Yeah.
you're like,
Hmm.
he's like, what are you guys doing? It's like, oh, dropping me off. It's just I don't want attention from the police and from like just haters out there. They see your car like, oh, look at that car. Like I want a carbon fiber hood, but I'm seriously considering painting it, which is dumb. I know it's kind of dumb,
It's
but
not. Yeah. Now
It's an
there's
aesthetic
other
thing.
option is diffusers and stuff like that. I think Tony here in the comments mentioned moving some of the weight to the rear, but the issue with that is that you still have the braking bias, and the car's still going to lift without aero in the rear pushing it down. So it's still going to get light.
There's always the option to do something that you have permanent brackets that sit on the corners of the trunk, have two M8 bolts or M10 bolts, and on and off for track day when you need it.
Yeah.
Something real simple. That's sort of what I've been planning to do eventually with my car, is have the full under tray diffuser, uh, front splitter and everything, and then just have the wing removable for when I need to be stealthy.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And that way
Nice.
I still retain some of the the functionality of it without having to go full overboard and just have a wing on this car that realistically, at least in my case, it sort of looks sort of funky with a wing on it and the top down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially in your case, it's a sedan. You got kid seats in the back,
yeah.
like
Like we were talking about the harness. Is it the harness bar?
yeah.
Yeah, I keep looking at it. I'm like, I want a harness bar in there. I mean, the kids are gonna love it anyways.
Yeah.
But then there's the thing of like, I think you have to drill into the plastic to put it in there somewhere. And then you gotta start thinking about like, okay, at this point, this is gonna be my car till like I die or till it dies or something. Because once you start doing stuff like that, it's difficult to go back to factory and not that I plan to go back to factory and like sell the car, but
Mhm.
eventually I'll want another car. Like, dude, I just found out today that the new Toyota Supra is gonna come with a four banger option.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they're bringing that Euro option over.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
We should figure out how to put a blower on it.
Mm.
It's very easy though. If you think about it, that's a very, very easy way to put a blower on that thing.
Hopefully, we have to look at that engine bay and see what they do.
K-swap it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You'll get so much hate.
Bill
Oh
K.
my
People are already
God.
mad that it has a BMW engine in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cares,
let's throw
dude?
a Honda engine in it. Yeah.
It's a Frankenstein.
Then again, you know what?
anyways.
Everything is K-swap everything right nowadays.
Yeah,
I've seen Porsches out there and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
K-swap or LS swap. It's like one of the two ways people go.
Yeah, that's the other one, right?
But yeah, no. I'm like, man. Now it comes to the 2-liter. I'm like, what? They could at least put like a 2.5 liter or 2.4 liter for some torque, right?
Yeah. I mean, the EcoBoost Mustang is out there. I feel like that's what it's going to compete with mostly, but it'll probably end up blowing it out of the water because of
Yeah.
simply the interior quality alone, and just
Yeah,
the
no,
way
they-
that car's built.
They
So much.
they
nicer.
did say they're dropping the quality of the interior too. So I
Okay.
mean, maybe better, not as good materials, but the basics will be there, right?
Mhm.
The dash will be
And-
the same.
There's always part outs in the future too. So
Yeah,
That's right. There's always
a
somebody
lot of
crashing.
people wreck those things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, they look good. Like after I saw it in person and actually on the street, it's I like the way they look now.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
think
wouldn't
that-
mind buying one. Like I
Yeah.
would buy one if it had a manual.
Mm.
yeah,
That's just me though.
the whole driver's car aspect.
Yeah, there's just too many cars, especially when I go to these meets. A lot of cars are automatic now, and I don't know. Now it's just like how much horsepower. Like there's no driver input from it now. Like if you like these street races, it's like you could lose a race by misshifting, which is
which you
you,
have done.
you get crit. I don't know what the word is, but your car and the driver has to be good. But now people just rely on the car and just smash the gas and just go. And to me, for me personally, it gets rid of the fun for me.
Yeah.
Because there's always a chance I could potentially beat a faster car if he's manual, if he misshifts. And
Yeah.
if we're racing for money or anything, I could still win.
Yeah,
But people nowadays are just like, just mash the gas and go.
you could just talk shit till they, get in their head,
Yeah.
Mhm.
play that mental game.
And I like the adrenaline rush and thrill, like when you're shifting. It's like, everything goes through your head. Got to shift right. Where am I going to shift? Just everything. But now with the automatics, you just mash and go and just hold the steering wheel.
And you even start to see that, and I mean, I would say some of our customer base nowadays too. It's just you see it a lot online where, oh yeah, I want to drive boost by gear on my blower, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, there's always throttle control
Yeah.
and tires. So I mean, you guys know well enough. I know my dad and Barry know, especially from the RSX days, were like,
Mhm.
your car had 350 horsepower and 255s, and you were spinning 1 2 3.
Yeah,
And
I feel like we're lucky with these 9 gens. They have so much more grip, mechanical grip.
Yeah. It's weird. Like it's hard for me to spin, or harder. I could still
Yeah.
spin it, but it's harder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, with the RSX, I ended up having like 275s at like towards the end of that life of that car because I'm like, I feel like I needed more and more and more tire. And then it's like the compound. So I went to like Nito NT01s, and I would drive on the street. People are like, dude, are you crazy? And I'm like, you never know. Somebody pulls up next to me. I can't just get embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
over here spinning and not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
tires have lost me plenty of races.
Yeah.
There was one point where I was racing, like, you remember those Edelbrock superchargers for the BRZs? So those
Yeah.
things hardly make over 300 after that thing is on there, and what's good just would leave me every time, and I'd spin and spin and spin, and all those races were from a dig, and I had 265s on Continentals, and it was just as little throttle as I could put into it, and he just would leave me every time. Now, if it was on the highway, it'd be a completely different story. He'd be standing still, basically. Yeah,
Mm.
especially
They
at
wouldn't
that
race
point
you
in the
either.
car. Yeah, exactly. Because I was already at over 450 in that car at that point, and it was just
Mhm.
yeah, it was definitely a tires game for that car by the end of its life.
Yeah.
So, fellas,
Yes.
what else is good for you guys? I mean, like Nathan, you're working on a car.
Yeah.
Jose, you're working on a car. What's in the near future for you guys?
Oh, near future.
Exciting stuff.
Oh, too
So
many.
we
Hype it
have we just finished Han's car recently. So his car got out of there. He's finally got his back in his hands.
for now.
So I'm excited for that. It seems like he's enjoying it so far. We
No.
have a 10-second when it came to us drag RSX that's getting the 1900 treatment. He was on a JRSE beforehand, and so he was running 10s with less than 400 horsepower, which is ridiculous in my eyes.
Wow.
You see some guys like Tong Man doing stuff like that where they either the way they drive or the way the car setup is, where they just don't need the power to make those numbers.
What's he running for gearing? Sorry to cut you off real quick.
I'm not
Stock.
sure
Stock.
exactly. Is he stock gearbox still?
He's still stuck. Yeah.
Yes. So he's
Oh
gonna
my
need the whole treatment, and he apparently he's going full tilt on the 1900. So that's gonna be exciting to see. That's sitting at the garage at home right now. We have Dad's EP3. That's probably going to be the closest one that'll get done of one of our cars right now. Is I'm just basically finished the engine build on that. So it's Wiseco pistons, BC Racing. I'm sorry, not BC Racing. Brian Crower rods.
Mhm.
No block work, stock piston sizes, but super tech valve train, stock valve. So realistically, a very basic build where it's literally just bearings, rods, pistons, valve springs, and throw it back
Studs.
together. Yeah, and studs definitely. Head studs are always a nice thing for that, especially with the boost pressures that we're going to
And the
need to do.
crank wrap bolts too.
Oh yeah, we have the lower cradle bolts or the studs for that are done, and that one's basically going together. It's going to get a GearX 6-speed set put through it and tossed back on the road with a I think OEM 9th gen or 8th gen LSD, which is going to be the funny thing. So those we haven't ran into any issues with those yet, but as far as horsepower goes, but that one's going to be done soon. I just finished the engine for that recently. It's just got to put an oil pan on it. So hopefully, eventually we'll get his car out and then we'll have something at home that we can play with and do testing with numbers and stuff. And it's mostly going to be a baseline car for us. That one's going to be 1900. And it's finally going to be one of the personal cars that we have that'll actually be able to push that 1900 till, either we run out of efficiency or something goes on the car.
That's
Whenever
going
the
to be a
future
fun car.
comes.
That's going to be a really fun car to drive. So,
Yeah, the short wheelbase.
mhm.
So
Oh, and
surprisingly, it's
big-
actually the same as the RSX,
right.
which was
It's just the body that's
Yeah.
short. Yeah.
a short and stubby body and same wheelbase.
I used to
We
love
do
mine.
plan. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
That's good. We do plan to get wider tires than that, cut the fenders and all that. Just be a little aggressive with it, since it's a cheap throw-out car for us. So just to be aggressive on it, just to make it a little beast on the street.
Yeah, chassis wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean,
Hmm.
I think I bought mine for like 1700. I bought an EP3 for a little while, Hans. I don't know if you know,
Mhm.
but I had it for like a year or so, and I don't know. I forgot why I got rid of it. I think I just needed money. At the time, I needed money, and it was a car that I know I could. Here's the thing: I bought it for 1,700, and I sold it for 3,500,
Yeah.
and I didn't do anything to it. I think I changed. I didn't change any. I changed the shift knob because
It
the
was
shift.
beautiful too. It was in great shape.
The car, dude, no rust, clean
Yeah.
blue color like your art, like the RSX you have, except no
Hmm.
scratches. Like it had a fresh paint job. The guy somehow got away with taking a picture because a tree fell over from a storm and it looked like it was sitting on the car. So now with the insurance companies, they just want you to send them a picture, right? So he sent them a picture. The tree was next to the car, but maybe he scratched it like a tiny little bit. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, send it to a shop and we'll paint it. So he had the car like the whole car painted from a picture.
Wow. Huh.
Like so um yeah, I got lucky with that. I think I had to change the shocks, the front shocks, because they were shot
Hmm.
when I picked them up. But that was it. Car drove nice. I mean, definitely very loose because it was old. None of the like all the ball joints and bearings and stuff were like original. So that's probably what I would have done if I kept it first. Just swap out all the suspension, all that other stuff. I remember the subframe was like the lightest subframe I ever picked up. So easy, like, oh, here,
Hmm.
throw it away.
I know they're not heavy at all. Yeah.
Yeah, so it makes it a lot easier to work on. Han, what are you doing next? You got any plans?
Man,
Anything?
I don't know. I talked to Tony today actually. I'm always going back and forth. That's my problem. I go back and forth too much. Sometimes
No
I can't make
way.
a decision.
You
Yeah,
do that for real?
yeah. I go back and forth too
Nah.
much. So like I was just talking to Tony earlier because he boosted his um, eighth gen pretty high. So it was just I've been researching a lot online and talking to Tony and talking to you guys. So I'm thinking about up in the boost what we talked about, and then I was asking Tony. He was just like, because I asked him about the heads. At what point does the head start backing out? And he said you have to look at the torque numbers, especially the mid range for the K series. For some reason, he said if you're mid range or low to mid range, torque is too high, the head starts backing out. And I think that's why he changed the head studs. So then after he said that, got me thinking, he's like, fuck, should I even increase the boost? Like, because like I'm not ready to buy the motor yet. That's the thing. Like that's the back and forth. I don't want to force myself to buy the motor. I want to buy it when I'm ready. Being forced to do it is not good. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I
Yeah,
don't. Because then I'll be like, well, my car's just sitting there. I'm still paying on the car. Like, fuck. Then I'll be like, fuck it. Let me just throw all this money at it. So I don't know, man. I'm just going, just going back and forth. I
yeah,
don't know.
Yeah. But then you have days that you say, "Fuck it, I don't want to.
And then there's days.
Let's
There are
blow
days I'm
this
just
motor
like,
up."
yeah. There are
Yeah.
days where I'm just like, you know what? People like excitement. People want risk takers. I say, fuck it. Let me just up the boost. So it's just but then I'm always like then I come back to reality. It's like, well, Hans, let's say if the motor does blow up, do you want to can you do it now? And I'm just like, well, I can, but do I want to do it now? That's my
hmm
battle.
Yeah.
I
See, you
can.
just answered it. You just answered it. You can. You're done.
You
So get it over with. Get it
yeah,
over with.
Yeah, so I
yeah.
want to so it's weird. Then I sent an email to a four piston. I'm like, hey, I want this. I want at least an 8,000 red line. I want to make at least my main goal is 500 to 600 wheel, but I want the room to make at least up to 900, whatever. I just gave him a range
Wow,
because I told him,
wow.
I said, I got a 1900. I got another 10 psi because I told him I 18 pounds. I got like almost another 10 psi that I could work with. But I told him there's a good chance I might upgrade to a 2300, and that's probably going to be even enormous. So I need a build where it's like, okay, I could do 20s, but potentially go in the 30s. I need the CR. Should I? They have a stroker kit too for the K series. They got a stroker
More
kit and
torque.
more. So they were telling me I could go from 2.4 to 2.7 on this motor. So they're just like, we're just going back and forth. So that's what I'm saying. I have so much shit going through my head. I'm like, which direction do I want to go? What, blah, 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 and stuff like that. Because if I go 2.5 stays about the same price. It's just when I get the stroker kit 2.7, 2.7, it adds another like 1,000 or something.
You got to do
Yeah.
crank and different
Yeah,
rods.
I got to do the crank. Yeah. So
Halves, tires,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
and then there's the supporting half of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
now we have an engine, but now we need double the injector or double the pump. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And
I
I
was
mean,
and then I was watching all the videos you guys sent me, and then in like that one video Jose sent, that was a really good video. I completely understand because there's at one point he was saying, so the fad now, right? High compression, high boost, but he actually showed that there's a point where that doesn't work anymore because he was talking about the dynamic compression ratio, the static compression ratio, and all this other stuff. And he said that there's one point where you still want low compression, but of course he was talking about turbo. But he was just saying like, here's the top of the, I guess, the combustion chamber, and here's the piston. If it goes up, this will be like 9-1, and then 10-1 or whatever. So if you could force more boost in a 9-1, you'll have more air crammed into it versus if it was 12-1, it'll have the less room to cram the air in. That's why at one
Yeah.
point, lower boost or lower compression ratio, higher boost is actually more efficient. But it just depends on your setup and all this stuff. And I start thinking about that. Then I watch another video talking about this. But then I watch that supercharger video, and they're like, if you go to a bigger blower, your motor needs to be able to crank it. So you need a higher compression or more liters. So there's like a sweet spot. And I don't think anyone knows where that sweet spot is with this motor, with a 2300 or 1900. That's my issue. Like, I need to know that sweet spot, but no one knows.
yeah, it's
You gotta
one thing
find it, dude.
that's
Like, dude, for you to say you really will find that sweet spot, you're gonna go through like a few motors to
Yeah.
find that.
this is
sweet
like
spot.
Barry trying to find the perfect exhaust in his RSX.
I went through like 4 of them, dude, in like
Four?
a month. Well, I had the stock one, right? And I stopped out. Like when I was gonna go to the 4th option, I stopped there. I had the stock one, which the guy like hacked and took the resonator off, which apparently is a very popular thing with the 9th gens. People are like, "Oh, it sounds great," and I'm like, "You guys remember when I picked up the car? I'm like, this sounds like shit. Like this
yeah,
car sounds like shit. Like it,
You
it
you
just
started with
sounded
this guy
bad."
too, didn't you? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So then you guys told me like, "Hey, if you wanna change the exhaust, let's do it now while it's at the house." And I was like, "Oh no, dude, let me just try to save a little bit of money."
Yeah.
And like that led me to regret a bunch of shit. Cause then like I heard the full race one was a nice exhaust. So I got the full race because Hans has the full race. It wasn't for me. So it's like, let me try to buy another, $500-$600 exhaust system. And then finally I decided to buy a resonator, and I ordered the resonator for the old stock exhaust. But the company ended up saying like, and I'm like, "Oh, hey guys, it's been 2 weeks. Like, is this thing gonna get shipped?" And they're like, "Oh, hey, I'm really, really sorry. We don't have it. We thought we canceled this order for you." And at that point, I was like, "Okay, you know what? Screw it. Like, it's done. It's done. That's just." And then now, I even went as far as changing the downpipe. So now it did get a 4th option because first we went with the catted downpipe, and then I'm like, "Fuck it. Like, I don't have this issue of like, you know." super strict emissions and checks. So I went
Right.
catless. So yeah, it's you're gonna go through that, but like at $10,000 a pop. Like, let's try this engine, and then that engine, and
Yeah.
then that
Hey,
engine.
what is it is a public question. I hate to ask you publicly, but what is your end goal at the end of the day? What do
Dude,
you want to do?
I want to beat people on this. I want to beat people. That's just my thing. It's a weird end goal, but I hate.
It's not weird. It's just it's a goal to reach.
I'm a
Yeah.
competitive person. Ever since I
Hmm.
grew up, it doesn't matter. Video games, sports. I grew up playing sports, track, basketball, football. I hate losing. I mean, I don't hate it, but I dislike it. I dislike losing. And if I
You
feel
hate
like,
losing more than you love winning. That's the classic
yeah,
quote.
so when I see someone beat me, I'm always thinking, how can I get better? And that's my driving force, actually, just period in life, with my work, with being successful in life. That drives me. I don't like being stagnant because if I see other people do it, I'm always like, I could do it too. I could do it even better. Let me try to do it. And I was
Mhm.
that's just my mentality. It could be bad at times, which it has, but at other times it's been good. So my end goal is this is what I want. I want to pull up at a car meet. People know who I am. Fucking don't mess with that dude. Oh no, I want to test him out. We take it out. I beat him. I want to gain the respect. I just want people to be like, yo, that's a force to be reckoned with, type thing. I don't, I want the respect. I guess that's what it
Right.
is.
Yeah.
So
But it sounds like
But
you
then
kind of
what's going to
have.
happen? You're going to be like Tony. Then nobody wants to race him anymore.
Yeah.
if Tony lived up here, he'll have plenty of people to race. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
He should take
plenty
a
of
drive
people.
out there. He should, what? When we get this CP3 going, or whenever he wants, we should try and go out. Actually, he's going to be able to do that now. He's making changes in his life that he won't be tied too much in his schedule. We should do a trip, all of us, and do a meetup with you and race.
You guys will be so surprised the type of cars up. I mean, there are
It'll be a
supercars
fun
running.
time.
It's
I
really
I
awesome.
w- I
Will
would
you
go
do it,
just for
Barry?
like just recording.
Will you?
I would go just for recording all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is like
Uh,
this is what got like people into cars, like car meets, the Fast and Furious type stuff. And there are people that are like hush hush, don't look under my hood kind of stuff. But like those
Yeah.
people you kind of ignore. It's just like whatever, dude. Everybody here has at least 10 grand in their engine bay. Like
Yeah.
what makes you so special? Like
Mm-hmm.
but still, like I remember doing that stuff when I was in high school. Like we'd meet at the McDonald's and they kick us out because they're like, oh, you guys are making too much noise, you're not buying anything. So we do the drive-through and buy
Yeah.
like apple pies. And then like, oh no, we did buy shit.
Yeah.
So but here we didn't have the sophistication that you guys have over there in Maryland, Mexico, where people are really working together to make sure no one. It sounds like you have a good community because people are working together to make sure no one gets in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over here, it's like,
There was actually a post tonight. There's runs in Mexico's tonight, um, that they posted up. They go because it's a secluded area. So if you're real serious, you got to hit up a couple people, and they tell you in the post you have to bring money. There are some
Oh
races
wow.
where you have to bring money. They say it's private. If you don't race, don't come. And
Huh.
it gets serious up here. Like there were like a couple months ago when I went to another meet and they were setting up races. I mean, there was guys betting thousands of dollars per race. I mean, these are
yeah,
Wow.
supercars. They're spending big money. Let me put it this way. And the ones that come out at night, like I told you guys before, there was a Skyline GTR with like 1,600 horsepower racing 1,200 cc bikes, and he was
Wow.
destroying them. They were racing for money, and he was just
wow,
beating him off the line and on the highway. So
wow,
it gets serious at one point. Depending on what kind of meet you go up to, it gets real serious.
Mm-hmm.
If you got cash, you get to go to the real
yeah.
secluded races.
There's a new style of racing that I heard of. I don't know who told me this,
Mhm,
but basically everybody just puts in like $100, so it's a pot, right?
mhm.
And you line up like, let's say it's a 6 lane, Mexican highway. You line up six, and the one person who wins gets the pot. So it's not like it's 1-to-1 and you're dropping $1,000 and you're losing $1,000.
Yeah,
You could do 5-6 races and still walk out of there with some money.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's- at that point, you obviously know that like a stock Honda Civic is not going to race you, right? Like, and people have to be honest about like how much power they're putting down, right? Because it's not like, oh yeah, I only have a KO4 turbo, and meanwhile the guy's like 1,000 horsepower setup. But I don't know. To me, that sounded like really cool. Um, but yeah,
yeah. You guys,
Yeah.
probably next year, because I mean, summer is almost over. I mean, they'll still do it probably all the way till maybe November. I mean, they'll probably still do it. I mean, not super cold, but I think when everything's ready, it'll probably be sometime maybe next year. We could all meet up when we all get our cars ready. Maybe next
Yeah.
spring, summertime. And
There's a
like I said, I just got back into it, and I didn't know how serious it stayed because in my era, it used to be serious when I was in high school. I mean, it used to be serious. We used to have car meets all the time, people racing, everything. And I thought it died down because just driving around the street, I didn't see that many people with cars anymore. But then going this year, I was dead wrong. There's people out there. You just don't see their cars for some reason during the day.
Hmm.
Like
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
either working, hiding, or
yeah,
well, the reality is it's cooler at night, so it's nicer and
yeah,
safer to run high power cars.
yeah.
Yeah. All
So
right.
yeah,
So
that's it. I mean,
there's
yeah,
the
that's
few
my end
things
goal.
that. So about your end goal,
Yeah,
you do have to realize that there'll be GTRs that
of
already have
course.
a V6 and two turbos. So
Yeah, I know.
there are a few cylinders and a few you know snails ahead of the game when it comes to you. So it sounds like you already have some notoriety when you go to these meets because actually everyone's like, "Oh, dude, the supercharger is high." So and obviously you lost the race because of shifting and stuff like that, but that stuff happens, dude.
I mean, the second
But
race was close.
it
I
it
should have
sounds to
shut
me
it
like
down.
you're pretty darn close to your goal. Um, it's just I think you already know what you have to do to get there, and you're going back to get tuned in a month or so, right?
End of the month.
So you're pretty much there. Are you doing the downpipe, the catless downpipe before
So
tune?
either we're gonna hollow it out, or if it gets off of back order, I was gonna get the catless and then sell the high flow. So it just depends,
All right.
because the dyno is on the 23rd.
Oh,
So
we got a date. Nice, nice.
yeah, it's the 23rd of September. Is
Yeah.
the
Okay.
dyno date. So hopefully the catless downpipes become available. If not, then I guess we gotta hollow it out. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still 3 weeks away, so there's still time.
Always options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I know what I want. Basically, at the end of the day, I need to rebuild the motor. Basically, I want to be able to race a Hellcat and beat it. I want to be like that underdog to beat it. Of course, I'm not going to beat everything on the street, but I want to beat majority of cars.
Mm.
I want to beat a Whippled Mustang that's 700 wheel horsepower,
Mm.
or keep up with it. I don't know, something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know. So
Now, here's a hard question.
Mhm.
I'm doing this publicly on purpose. We know the nine gens are notorious for their rod failures randomly, regardless of power. So, are you willing to risk that?
yeah, that's the
Because it
yeah.
seems like it doesn't matter, right? Lately we've been studying this really hard, and it doesn't matter how much power you make, the rod will break no matter what power you are.
Yeah, it's weird.
Eh,
Mine's been held up pretty fine.
You're throwing 20 psi on your motor. People are told, oh, it's going to break at 12 or 15, I should say,
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did.
and it never happened. I mean,
How many
you
miles you
drive
put on
hard.
that with the SC?
I say
15,000 miles.
now probably 14, 15 now. It's
Yeah.
been I think I had 30,000 miles, 31,000, and now I have like 45.
Yeah,
And
which is amazing. I mean, I was so scared when we said it's just based on oil failures, right? Of people posting things. And
Yeah.
it's amazing. You done 20 psi. You drive crazy because I drove with you testing this out. So I mean, this man doesn't wait to put boost on. He's like, okay, 3,000 RPM,
yeah,
floor.
let's go. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go.
So it's not like he babies it. So
Yeah.
I'm very impressed and I'm very happy with what you got. But it's still anyway. I guess my
Yeah.
point is I'm very amazed and impressed that seems like the motors can handle the power, and we've seen some of the guys in Puerto Rico telling us, yeah, it can handle the power as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, that's another thing. So this is another thing that drives me to want more
Mhm.
power. I keep on seeing these videos, and I've talked to guys with turbo 9 gen, And there's this one guy in particular, I forget his YouTube name. He hasn't posted in a while. He was pushing 500 something wheel horsepower, 400 something wheel torque, stock motor for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And like I hit him, I was like, "Hey, what have you done?" "Nothing, dude. Stock motor." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, stock motor. I get on it when I want to. I don't. Blah blah blah." I'm like, "Huh." And there was a other couple guys, same thing. They're pushing in, 400 to 500 wheel horsepower range, up to close to 400 wheel torque, like 383, whatever. And I hit them
Wow.
up. "Hey, what do you got done? Stock whatever?" And they're like, "Yeah, stock motor."
Yeah.
So it's just like it makes me wonder, like, huh, if they could do it, I could do it. That's why I think, like, I can't, like me. I was looking back my dyno graphs. I started off real low, 11 psi, gradually went up, 15, 14, went to 8. I just gradually went up, gradually did mods. I didn't just go full blast, full send, like, hey, I want to do 20, 21 psi first time,
Yeah.
let's go. So I just gradually pushed it up, and it's been handling well. Doesn't burn
Mm.
oil. It's been fine.
Yeah.
Been impressive nonetheless. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's a nice motor. I think there is one weakness, and that's the like I did my best to prepare for track day. And I had time. I had like 3 months that I knew I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the track day. But you know, to spend a few thousand in 3 months just like that, it's still not easy. And pay your bills and all that other crap, whatever. But after the track day, I did a lot of research on like what's the capacity of like what are typical, because you have to look at like what guys that are doing what you're doing do to their cars, right?
Mm.
So I joined the 8th and 9th gen racing club on Facebook, and they're very helpful. I try to look for some forums that talk about racing and stuff like that. And I found two things. A lot of the guys, they upgrade the oil pump. Especially you see like NA guys like revving to 8,000. Even NA guys are like,
Oh
you
wow.
know, gonna upgrade this pump because I want to rev to 8,000, and actually oil baffling. Which if you're gonna do the baffling, you gotta do the pump. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I feel like if I
Nice.
take taking this motor out will probably just mean like building this motor, because why do it twice? So
Yeah.
um
So your application is more the turns and the track and high
yeah,
lows and yeah.
so I don't know, like you know I'll be putting that out there what I'm doing next, but some
Nice.
exciting stuff coming this way. And you know
Beautiful.
it's it's amazing. Like I've had the car for like about a year now, and I'm like, people talk about, there's like I'll put my hand up here, there's a graph of like modifying that goes kind of like this, and then you start going to track meets and stuff like that, and the graph just goes like this, because there you go, now you got a front splitter, there you go, now you got a spoiler, and like you got RComs, and it's and what, 6 months later you're like, okay, screw it, I'm gonna gut the interior,
Yeah.
like. So I feel like I'm headed that way. I didn't want this car to be like that, but one track this, like, like
You're hooked. It's like drugs, man.
yeah, it's like I need those
Yeah.
those I
No,
need
not
that
that I
stuff.
know, but
Yeah, I've been there, and like, you saw me drive that day, Nathan, and I was babying the car. Like we dropped the power, so it's making like 11 psi. The car felt so slow because I was so used to taking off. I still had torque down low, but like on the straight, I was like, meh. I'm like, okay, 109, 110, 100. I'm like, I'm not used to being able to count my speed.
Yeah,
So
I'd still say it was like a good 275, 300 horsepower car still, but
yeah,
it
but it
was
wasn't a 350 horsepower
no, yeah, and
car.
especially going down from where you already were, you're gonna feel that. But
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is low.
it was definitely surprising what happened because as far as we could tell, there are really no weak points as far as like how our setup was.
No, no.
Cooling was better than it's ever been. Boost was lower than it's ever been. We had fuel. Driver wasn't beating its ass the whole time. It was like,
Yeah.
he was fairly reserved as far as that because eventually I was gonna drive the car, or we were trying to get me to drive the car,
I know.
and afterwards I was like, yeah, I would have driven the car probably a lot harder.
Yeah.
Personally, but that's just sort of like my thing. But so it's very, very interesting to see how that just sort of deteriorates.
Yeah. And it's like so I want to go back and drive the car hard. I want to drive it like I stole it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's
Feel
what it is.
prepared. Yeah, with a build
know.
set up. Yeah.
But it's it's exciting because it's like it feels like you're never going to get bored. You're not gonna say like, oh, I'm bored. And that's what happens. Sometimes you get bored of a car and you're just like, all right, I'm ready for something else. I'm ready to spend $700 a month on like a Toyota Supra because I want to see Toyota Supra. And that's gonna get boring pretty quick, especially when those payments are rolling in. Like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
a lot of money, So anyway, guys, I think we should end it soon-ish.
Yeah, we're about an hour and a half almost now, right?
We're about an hour and a half in.
Almost.
Signal, you got anything for us?
No, I really want to rebuild the motor. That's it, man. Other than that, I don't know if I'm gonna be going out this weekend. We'll see. Weather's supposed to be nice this weekend, and I think around here the lows are supposed to get in the 50s, 60s.
Oh,
So
Ooh,
that's
boost
really
weather.
good boost weather.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So I know there's gonna be a lot of runs up here this weekend, or in Mexico, Maryland, Mexico.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, if I do, I'll film it. But more than likely, I just don't know. I don't know yet if I'm going to be out there. I do want to run. No, I don't. I'll wait for the BRZ later. I'll
Yeah.
race them again later.
Get your
Yeah,
tune
be
done.
prepared. Yeah, be prepared. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Practice those shifts, man, because you don't want to miss a shift, bro.
Yeah.
Just
No, I think
bang bang.
there's a guy I met. Oh, there's a guy I met. I told you guys, a subscriber that came up to me, and he has about 380 something wheel horsepower in his turboed night gen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get him out there. I'm gonna try to probably hit
Nice.
him up and see. Same, his car looks exactly like mine. It's white, black rims, tinted windows. It looks exactly like mine.
Yeah.
And so I met him. He came up to me. He's like, "Hey, blah blah blah. I follow your channel, blah blah blah." And he's pushing at 380 something. So I'm gonna try to get him to run my boy's GTI and see how well he does. Because the GTI did get faster. So we did a pool, and you know how the first race was. I was just gone, and that was with me only 384. He stayed with me the first. I think we did it from a second. He stayed with me. I mean, I pulled, but it wasn't like before.
Yeah.
So he learned how to brake boost. So his car is a little bit quicker. But then again, also remember we were talking about with the taller gears. I think my car, and I was talking to people at the meet. I think my car actually got a little bit slower from a second gear pull. I really think so.
Interesting.
I think it did. I think it got slower. I think once I start getting up in gears, it starts pulling. But just comparing like the race with the GTI, my second gear, he was still like kind of behind. Like he was behind me, but it wasn't the big gap that it was the first race. So I don't
race
know.
From third.
Man, it's hard to get people to race from third. Because the miles per hour, like they don't. So people want people when I go to these meets, they want to race from like a 40. That's like everyone's set on 40 or 50.
Yeah.
So like
do 50, dude. Like don't go down to 40 in second gear.
What RPM does that put you in?
40, I think around 39, 4,000, 38. A little.
That's actually.
Yeah, that's probably why you'll lose the hit on people.
Because I'd rather
be
start
in like the
pulling in
4,000,
like 4 to 5.
Yeah,
but like you guys remember, his tune is very mild up to like until he gets to about what 45,
5,000.
five grand. So
Yeah, so when I say that, it's more of like a general estimate for K in general. But
yeah, but I mean, like,
yeah,
But also
I
with
mean,
taller
that's what
gears,
drives me crazy because at 3,000 you should be able to still 3,500. That's usually very good for your torque level. I just
but I think with the taller gears, right? So I've noticed with this, it's like doing this. If you put a Corvette gearing in an RSX, it's not going anywhere, right? Because the gears are too
yeah.
long. So it's just the
Hmm.
same thing as me. I put longer gears, I gain torque, but I need to gain enough torque to compensate the taller gear.
yeah. But
Gotcha.
You
looking
get
at
what I'm
your
saying?
graph, you gain the torque up higher than that,
Yeah,
rather than because I make peak torque at like 2,800 RPM. You should still be making peak torque around that RPM,
hold on, let me look at my
even
graph.
with the taller gearing. But
Right.
we
But I
we could
might need more torque to turn the car. Even
yeah
though my peak torque it could be quicker, sooner or whatever.
Oh, you reduce your multiplication. Yeah.
You're not, because you have taller gear, you need more power to turn it to get the car going.
yeah
Hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Even if
Yeah.
like I said, if you put taller gears in an RSX or put a lower final
oh
drive,
yeah
you ain't moving anywhere. You have
oh yeah
no torque. Um, so I think that's what happened with my car. Let me check my
yeah
dyno real quick. Uh, so okay. Uh, so it goes up at 3,000 to 32, then it has that dip down, and then it goes up, and then it finally starts going up at 4,000, then plateaus and goes up, and my peak torque is around 5,600.
shit. That's late. That's
So
late.
I'll show you the graph.
Yeah.
I don't
No, I remember. You
shit,
know.
can't see it.
No,
There you
There
go.
you go.
there you go. Yeah.
So peak torque is not till
That's late.
5,000 something.
Yeah, you're missing some torque between
Oh,
that where that little smiley face is. I call it
yeah.
a smiley face because it just
The smiley face goes from
at the end.
32 to 4,000.
Smile.
Yeah, you need to fill that in.
Yeah.
Fill that in. All right, guys. Let's end it there. It was nice seeing everybody. You know, happy that everyone's doing well enough. This video will stay on my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining, everyone who joined. Tony, we should have had you on, man. Next time we'll
Yeah,
try to get better.
he's overdue. Yeah, we got to bring him in next time, man.
Yeah, we got to bring you in so you could talk some shit. Because you're a smart guy and you're doing a lot of good stuff over there. I see a lot of your posts on Instagram, and it's just like you're busy, especially with the Honda stuff. So we could all use a little bit of knowledge there, man. So we'll try to do this again in about a month's time. And we'll see where it goes. Nate, thanks for joining us today. Jose,
Yeah,
thanks for
definitely.
making time. Hans,
Mhm.
keep gapping people.
I'll try.
For any of you guys that joined the chat, thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, subscribe, come back for more, people. I'm gonna go drink some tea before bed because I gotta get better.
All right, feel better, man.
I hope
Thanks.
feel
All right,
Thank
see
you,
you
better.
everybody.
guys.
Bye. Folks.
Bye.